Hello, in this video I want to talk about gaslighting and how it was used to make you feel something was wrong with you, and eventually you might have started to wonder what was happening. It's a covert way of distorting another person's perception of reality, making them question their sanity and their memory. This is crazy making. Hello, my name's Elizabeth Goddard from Revive Your Soul, and on this channel I talk about healing from emotional abuse, breaking free from the invisible chains that hold you or trap you in a relationship, unable to move on. If you're new to this channel, please like and subscribe. And if you're returning, welcome back and thank you. Gaslighting is a covert way of distorting another person's perception of reality, making them question their sanity and their memory. It's crazy making on a whole different level. You can't trust yourself or your perception of reality, and you start to believe the abuser's version of events, and slowly they begin to take over your life. Gaslighting was a tool made to make you feel something was wrong with you. They used tactics to deflect their behaviour, making you feel that you're mentally unstable or that you were overreacting. For people healing from toxic relationships, this can cause emotional confusion and anxiety. Eventually, you may have started to wonder what was happening and that you couldn't trust your own judgment, and you've created bonds with this person, so you turn to them for protection. The term gaslighting is being used more and more. It comes from a play written by Patrick Hamilton called Gaslight in 1938, which was also made into a film. The story is about a man who meets a young woman. She falls deeply in love with him and believes he feels the same way about her. The wife Bella gets upset with her husband's unexplained disappearances, and his failure to tell her where he is going increases her anxiety. And the husband Jack makes her believe she's going crazy and use this form of manipulation on the people around her as well. They believed, just like his wife, he was protecting her. He systematically manipulated her, and this term, gaslighting, is now commonly used to describe this manipulative behaviour. When you experience any form of anxiety or go through a prolonged period of stress, your brain goes into survival mode. You can't make decisions. You can barely look after yourself. Gaslighting or cognitive dissonance is a very unique experience for each individual, and it's used to gain power and control over you and others. The abuser uses it to convince you that they're right and your perception of what happened is wrong. They use gaslighting to manipulate you and to trauma bond you. You believe they're looking after you, when in fact they're abusing you. They might erase the abuse that took place by playing the victim, turning everything around to be your fault, and telling you that their behaviour is a direct result of the way that they were treated. They change or fabricate conversations or events. They will use gaslighting to manipulate you into believing you're going crazy. And they might say things like, "I never said that," or you might find yourself saying that, as they have twisted your words and then wondering if you did say it and now you can't remember. Or they might say, "That didn't happen," as they change the details to cover their tracks. And you then question yourself, wondering if it did happen and you can't remember. They'll tell you you're going crazy, bipolar, you're paranoid, you're too sensitive, you're overreacting. Or they'll say something like, "I think you want me to have an affair," when you start to question things. They make up stories and triangulate you with others to create jealousy. And they tell you that other people agree with them, eroding your self-esteem. They may feign concern and declare that they're only concerned with your well-being, when in fact their only concern at this point is to protect themselves. When they stop covering their tracks, they're done with you. They don't want to waste any more of their valuable time and energy on you. You are no longer fit for purpose. The final discard is coming. You have nothing left for them. You probably don't have the resources to support them anymore, and they found somebody else who has. When all these statements are laid out together, you can see they're abusive. Gaslighting doesn't happen like that. They're drip fed, and over time they erode your personality and change your reality. This was very different from a normal breakup, be it romantic or friendship or with a family member or work colleague. Only a person who has gone through this very specific form of abuse will understand what it's like and how deep the trauma runs. For me, understanding what cognitive dissonance was and the effects it had on my brain was a bit like waking up from some form of deep hibernation, and the state that your brain works from has been described as fog. But you might also feel confused, keep questioning yourself, and you might find you're jumping at the slightest sound. You might feel vulnerable and doubt your decision making, or start questioning everything. And there's nothing worse than that feeling of loneliness, being in a relationship but being very alone, with no one to turn to for support but the person who is abusing you. When I understood what I'd been through, why my brain couldn't compute, why I was so forgetful, and why I wasn't able to retain any information, why I was reacting totally out of character, and how this happened, it was really the very start of my healing. It was as if somebody had turned on a light, and the relief was huge. And I remember thinking I wasn't that crazy. It was a milestone in my own recovery, and I was able to cut away some of those invisible chains that still had hold over me. But I kept replaying the same scenarios over and over in my mind, asking the same questions, what if and if only. I was able to replay events and situations that didn't match up, the weird excuses, and how I was jealous and I had trust issues. Understanding the cycle of abuse and the gaslighting and other tactics that we used to help me make sense of everything. This form of abuse penetrates on so many different levels, so many layers. Your brain has been tricked into believing what you were told was the truth, and it takes time to de-traumatize. And it's so easy to slip back down that dark hole when faced with new facts or new situations. And during your recovery and after your recovery, it can take a while to start trusting again, constantly trying to clarify things that you're being told. It's like you've got a heightened trigger in your brain showing you and going over information. You question what people tell you, and if you spot an inaccuracy in their story or details, it's like you go on hyper alert, fact checking, making sure everything fits. I promise this does calm down, but it actually is a really useful tool, so don't dispose of it too much. You will find a lot of friendships change. You might discover other people in your life are doing the same thing. You turned off your intuition, and it might now be waking up, and you can use this gaslighting bullshit spotter to protect yourself. People do make mistakes, and it might be that they omitted part of the story or conversation to save time, and then you've picked up in that the timeline doesn't fit. But you can use your gut and check in and see if the story makes sense. If you start to realise that somebody is gaslighting you, don't try and rationalise their behaviour. See it for what it is. They won't see anything wrong with their behaviour, so don't try and approach them about it. Either move them out of your life or use techniques to protect yourself. And if you start to go into that cycle of questioning yourself, those if only and maybe statements, stop yourself. Be present and ground yourself. Focus on your body and stop your mind going into overdrive. Gaslighting is a pattern of behaviour. Trust your intuition, and if something doesn't feel right, it usually isn't. If you start to notice gaslighting in other relationships, so that friendships or with family members or in the workplace, you can use grey rock. I posted a video recently on whether grey rock really works. If you're getting triggered by somebody and they're emotionally hurting you, then you do need to go no contact with them. All the time you're getting an emotional reaction, grey rock isn't going to work. Start making yourself your priority. Start making your healing your priority. I hope you found this video useful. Please like and share and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to find out how to work with me on a one-to-one basis, then please visit my website reviveyoursoul.co.uk or send me an email info@reviveyoursoul.co.uk. I'm going to put the links to both my books, Finding Lily and the A to Z of emotional abuse, in the description box below. And I'm sending you loads and loads and loads of love.